Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let's introduce myself. My name is Khoirul Cahyono. I am from Economic Development Program STUDI, Class A. Before I start my presentation, I will ask a question. Do you know why Indonesia is experiencing a recession? As expected, the Indonesian economy entered a recession in the third quarter of 2020. On Thursday, 5.11.2020, Indonesian Statistical Agency or BPS announced that third quarter 2020 gross domestic product or GDP growth contracted by 3.49% year-on-year, which makes it the second consecutive quarter of negative growth. The Indonesian government self-imposed social and business restriction take in an attempt to prevent the further spread of COVID-19, or the main reason why the economy has been crashing in the second and third quarter of 2020. It is a development that is not only occurring in Indonesia but across the world. The purpose: knowing the condition Indonesia's economy growth during the pandemic and predicting economic growth at the end of 2020. The cause of the decline in Indonesia economic growth. The COVID-19 crisis triggered a decline in household consumption that typically accounts for between 55 to 60% of Indonesia's total economic growth, of 4.4% year-on-year. Gross fixed capital information contribution over 30% to economic growth contracted 6.48% year-on-year in third quarter in 2020, while export of goods and services contracted 10.82% year-on-year. Prediction for the Indonesian economy at the end of 2020. The only optimistic news is that the economic contraction in third quarter 2020 was not as wide as in the preceding quarter, when the economy contracted by 5.32% year-on-year. This was also in line with expectations since most of the restrictions were eased in the third quarter, and this now allows more room for economic activity. Most likely, there will be another small improvement in fourth quarter to 2020. There was an economic improvement in the quarter for 2020. However, we do still expect to see negative growth in the last quarter of 2020 as well as in the first quarter of 2021, considering it is unlikely that a safe COVID-19 vaccine will become available the next couple of months. Indonesia economic growth is improving. What also positive is that our earlier GDP growth forecast of -2.50% year-on-year for Indonesia economic growth in full year 2020 could be a bit too pessimistic. We now expect the Indonesian economy to contract between 2.0 and 2.5% in full year 2020. The conclusion is that social and business restriction caused the economic collapse in the second and third quarter of 2020. The COVID-19 crisis decreased household price. However, the economic contraction in quarter 3 2020 was not as large as the previous quarter, and the forecast for Indonesia economy growth to contract between 2.0 and 2.5% in the full 2020. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.